I can't remember whose turn it is to do the intro.
It is my turn.
It's your...
It is my
Take
turn.
it away, James. How very ominous. Hello and welcome to Films I Should Have Seen, the podcast in which we watch and discuss movies that are either considered popular or are highly regarded, that we may have missed in the past. My name is Ross, and with me as always are my co-host Sean.
Evening.
And James.
Hello.
And this is episode 8? Possibly
Why
8.
not?
I don't know. I should really keep up with this. And this time around, we watched Predator, the 1987 Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Not to be confused with The Predator, which I said in the last episode, which is the new film that comes out this year.
Who's in that one?
I can't remember, but I know it's a Shane Black film.
Okay.
But it's weird because the trailers don't make it look like it's set at Christmas, and all of his films are set at Christmas.
Don't know who Shane Black is.
Director.
He did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, or you will know him mostly from Iron Man 3.
I've seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, actually.
It's a great film. Have you seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
No.
We may have to do it because it is a really fun film. It's a Robert Downey Jr. film again.
Oh, cool.
But that's not what this episode's about. This film, however, was directed by John McTiernan. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is his second film, but this was his era, apparently, since after this film, he went and did a little known cop movie known as Die Hard. Then he did The Last Action Hero and Die Hard with a Vengeance. He had other films on his list.
That'll be over the space of from 87 to 90 something?
Yeah, there is other films on his
But they were
list,
the highlights.
but, yeah, he's only done 11 films. He hasn't done a lot. But I had not seen Predator before, and neither had you. Had you, Sean? No. But James had. So two episodes in a row.
I'm on a 2-win streak here.
Yeah. We'll make sure next one you haven't seen it.
Damn it.
Yeah. So when did you watch it, James?
It's an 18. I definitely didn't see it when I was 18. I would say probably about 11, 12, something like that.
Oh, fair enough.
It could have actually been earlier because I'm sure my dad has it on the old VHS.
Ooh.
What are those?
What's one of those, you say? It's an old spot.
There's
We won't get
Sean
into that.
pretending to be young.
So I'm sure I may have put it on once, or my dad might have been watching it himself at some point. But first fully time watching it myself, I'm sure I got it on DVD, and I will have watched it, somewhere around that age bracket.
All right. Then. So I'm assuming you like this film.
I love Predator. Young James loved it because it's an action film. Is it a monster film or is it an action film? It's an action
It's
film.
action sci-fi, isn't it?
It's action sci-fi.
Actually, it's very akin to like a slasher movie
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
But replace helpless teens with
Yeah.
military men.
Yeah, I mean, just take that iconic look of Predator. How could someone not like it and be drawn to it? And I just love this film.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen it, which is quite odd because I've seen I'd say pretty much all the big sci-fi films of that era. I've seen all of the Aliens except the newest one, but from what I understand, I don't want to. Terminator franchise, which I know you haven't seen.
Nor Alien.
No, you haven't seen Alien? Jesus Christ. But no. But this isn't my first Predator film. I've seen Predators.
Predators with Adrian
Brody, which I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
But I had only seen it once, and I was probably about 15, 16 when it came out.
Yeah.
And I have seen both of the Alien versus Predator.
I was about to mention them.
Which are cinema masterpieces, if you haven't seen them. Much akin to Freddy versus Jason.
Masterpiece.
Yeah. So this wasn't my first time experiencing...
So you are familiar with the whole Predator character and...
Yeah, but this is my first time watching the original film.
So let's pass it over to Mr. Pinder for his...
It's a good old-fashioned 80s action movie.
80s action
That's what it is.
slasher thriller.
Explosions.
Muscular
Bullets
men
flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Can I just point out before I go too far? I don't think they reloaded a gun once. Maybe once. Just carnage.
That little bag of bullets was endless,
Yeah,
wasn't
it was
it?
great on it. I just love it.
One of my favourite things about this film is there's a line right at the beginning from Dutch, Arnie's character, who says, "We're a rescue op, not assassins." Every opportunity they get, they just fire their guns with reckless abandon. You're not quite there yet.
Yeah,
the whole, the obligatory bicep shot.
Clasping of hands, love that.
Yeah. Which
So
wasn't
good.
there for no other reason than to show off that Arnold Schwarzenegger
Because-
and Carl Weathers have massive arms.
Would he have been coming off Rocky? Or Rocky 2 at that point, Carl Weathers?
Carl Weathers, I think it'll be in quite a few years after.
Yeah,
This came in
so-
87.
He's clearly very...
Because this
was always
film
very
actually
big.
started, the concept for the film started as a joke. Because someone said the only person Rocky Balboa had left to fight was E.T. And then that's where the film came from. So I was like, oh, that's pretty funny.
So anyway, segue back. Your opinion, Mr.
I enjoyed it. I will be honest, it was dragging a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
But as soon as they get into it with they've destroyed that camp
Little
because
camp,
they're a rescue op, so naturally they murder everything in sight. They destroy that camp. They've got Anna, who name we don't know at this point. And then once the Predator starts picking them off, my favourite part of this film was when it just comes down to Arnie versus the Predator.
Yeah, so I think we can be very blunt and say that is the masterpiece of this film.
I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
I think one of it is probably the greatest bit is Jesse Ventura just walking through the jungle, the big explosion behind him, spitting his licorice into the scene, and then all of a sudden firing his bullets off. I just sat and chuckled at the scene. I was like, I like that.
Well, fun fact with Jesse Ventura, when he first went to the wardrobe department, he was delighted to learn that his arms were 1 inch bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger. He suggested to Schwarzenegger that they measure arms, the winner getting a bottle of champagne. Ventura lost because Schwarzenegger had told the wardrobe department to tell Ventura his arms were bigger.
Excellent.
The amount of testosterone that must have been on that set for the entirety of this production.
No one's really underbuilt in that film. I mean, there's smaller guys there.
They're all bodybuilders.
They're all still quite big. It made me chuckle, that as well.
No, this was a complete testosterone-fueled action fest. I don't think there was ever any intention of there being like a deeper narrative or anything like that. I'm sure there's many articles and videos that go into the theoretical stuff and the meanings behind everything and how it is deeper than you expect. It's not. It's just a bunch of dudes in a jungle fighting an alien.
But yeah, it is quite slow and uninteresting to begin with. And like you say, when the Predator comes into it and he's stalking them, and they slowly realise what he's doing and why he's attacking them, and then the fight at the end I think it's just brilliant.
Yeah. There was one thing I was confused by with the fight at the end. That's when, obviously, because a lot of the film we see through the Predator's vision.
You're going to say the same thing that I picked up on.
We see his heat vision.
Yeah.
And then he takes his mask off, and then we continue to see things from his perspective, and it still seems like it's through some kind of
heat vision.
But you can't really see anything that's going on. It's just red.
I think the in-law version of the story would be, I think it's to level the playing field against the human, because obviously he grabs Arnold by the face, doesn't he? And he looks at him and is like, well, you've got no enhancements going on, so I'll get rid of my enhancements, as in the mask.
And also, the point when they fall from the waterfall, and Predator follows in afterwards, and you see him step out of the water, you see like a little malfunction going on, and then he's looking for Arnie. He's picking up heat sensors all the way through the film.
Yeah.
But you can't pick a heat sensor up if you're covered in mud.
Yeah, the whole idea is that the mud's meant to be
Yeah, the
cold,
water's
the
cooled his
mask
body
is,
temperature, and then the mud's
still
magical.
it doesn't, but that's like...
Yeah, but then he still picks up the little possum hiding in the tree.
Yeah.
Now, it would have made sense if it was a slight malfunction, and that's why I couldn't pick Arnie up. But then it went straight back to the possum. It was mud doesn't... No. So if there's any SAS guys out there, Could be yourself in mud, you won't get picked up with.
Well, yeah, if we're going to start picking things out, I love that the Predator's shoulder cannon, when it shoots anybody other than Arnie, it blasts a hole straight through them. Arnie gets a flesh wound on his arm.
Shrugs it off, yeah.
Yeah, it practically just grazes him. And it makes it the wound on that they actually put on him, the makeup, makes it look like it is just it just
grazed him, yeah.
But the shot, it full on hits him
right on the chest.
Yeah, it's the chest. It's not even the shoulder.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, this man's just so powerful. Like, he just shrugs off lasers.
That's Arnie.
That's Arnie.
That's Arnie.
I will say that the Predator, even after, what did I say? This was 87. So even after 30 odd years, still looks awesome.
Yeah, all the makeup, the suit, everything looks great. You could nitpick and say maybe the CGI for when he's camouflaged isn't great, but it's 80s. It's 80s. No. It's of the time. Obviously, we was watching a rendered Blu-ray version, so there'd have been some improvements. I understand they won't want to tamper with it too much, but yeah, absolutely. The guy who they get to play the Predator, I don't know if he was a bodybuilder himself at all. Obviously, the suit will have added some bulk, but I know the guy was 7'2", something like that.
Yes.
So to get someone of that height, I know obviously Peter Mayhew was another one of those kind of guys, but that height, with that much of a physical performance, to basically outweigh Arnie is something quite credible, I think.
Well, it was originally going to be Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude, he's tiny, isn't he?
Well, that was one of the reasons it didn't end up being him, because they wanted the Predator to be someone who knew martial arts, so that he was more agile and ninja-like. But Jean-Claude Van Damme's only 5'9", compared to Arnold and the others who were between 6'2" and 6'5". They didn't really want him to be shorter, and also Van Damme kept complaining that the suit was too hot. So they just got rid of him.
Got rid of him. Fair enough. Yeah. Don't blame them.
Yeah. That's why he's doing adverts now.
But cold, it's damn cold.
Damn cold. Yeah, it's a great film, isn't it? I'm glad you two liked it.
I will be honest. I was very skeptical at the beginning.
Yeah.
For at least the first 20 minutes, I was quite bored. But like I say, once it gets into the actual Predator stuff, I was like, yeah, this is what I wanted.
It's not what I thought it was. I thought it was outer space.
Oh, really? Did you?
Yeah,
really,
I thought it was that sort of sci-fi film. I didn't realise it was a jungle.
A jungle. Theme. So obviously it's quite a simple story that's there, but did you pick up on like the beats of it of he's not attacking the woman because she doesn't have a gun? Or did you only realise that when Arnie said it? See, it is something I vaguely picked up on when I was younger, because I do remember thinking, well, that's odd, he had two of them right in his sights, and he didn't go for the woman, he went for, I forget the name of the character he kills off first, the one with the big glasses on.
Mac, no.
No. Oh, I can't remember.
I can't remember. But it is something I noticed when I was younger, and then obviously you just notice other things, like he's if I remember again my lore correctly, it's a rite of passage the Predators go to do.
Well, see, this is the thing, like in the later films, and I know in like expanded media, like in comics and video games and everything else they've done around it, they do explain the kind of thing of one. I don't think in any of the films. I think in like a book or something, they actually say what the name of their race is.
Yeah.
But in the films, they've only ever been referred to as Predator.
And even then, at least in the first one, they don't reference him as a Predator. They don't have a name.
But they always, going into the lore of them, it's a case of, they're hunting for sport. And he does briefly mention it in this, but it doesn't really go into it, which I suppose makes sense. We're seeing the film through the soldier's perspective, so they're not going to know anything of it. But it's interesting to see how little they did really touch on it. Like, Dutch says, you weren't armed, he's hunting for sport. That, in the context of the film itself, that doesn't really give you anything.
Yeah, it's
so I do think that in a way is very interesting for the first film of we're just going to introduce this villain and give you pretty much nothing.
Just know that he's a big hulking dude who's invisible.
So how long after was Predator 2?
I don't know.
Is it 1990 that?
And is that Arnie again?
No, Arnold does not return.
It's set in like Chicago or something.
I think it's LA. I could
it
be
LA?
wrong. It's
I'll have a look.
Danny Glover.
I think so.
I'm sure it's Danny Glover.
Talk amongst yourself.
And I have seen Predator 2. If I vaguely remember rightly, I think Predator 2 starts with like that ending shot of Arnie on the helicopter. 1990. And it sort of like brings the story in from that. And I assume we're not going to watch Predator 2.
Probably not.
It's very wrongly considered the worst of the Predator trilogy series films. It is set in a city. It is Danny Glover, should I say? Sorry, not Donald.
It'd be great if it was Donald Glover.
He is in it. It basically, I think, introduces like 3 predators, and they're in LA because that was obviously the big thing. Was they come when it's hot?
Yeah,
I don't know if that's what attracts them to Earth specifically, or that's just when they go out hunting. It's warm or whatever. There's a weird bit at. I'm sure Danny Glover essentially like makes friends with one of them by the end, and
I suppose that kind of happens in Alien vs Predator.
My lasting image of Predator 2 is of Danny Glover coming off the Predator's ship, and I'm sure he's got the shoulder cannon in his hand because he's been using it as a weapon. And I can't remember if they give him it as like a thank you or something, because he's It's not a great story.
No. See, like I say, I think the first...
It's a big helicopter shot from above of him walking. I won't say anymore.
Well, I mean, we're not going to watch it on this, obviously, but if you ever get round to watching Predators, which was the 2010 sort of like kind of reboot of the franchise, but it's set in the same continuity.
Yeah.
They kind of flip it on that one.
Yeah.
Because instead of the Predators coming to Earth, they take... hunters from other planets and put them on. I don't know if it's their planet or if it's just a planet they use to hunt on.
It's not other planet. I think it's all people from Earth.
No, I'm sure they find like bodies or something for. Like,
they do. Yeah,
it's just they go planet at a time.
Yeah,
it's actually quite. It's
Adrian,
it's not brilliant, but it's cool. You get
Adrian
Brody ripped.
Yeah, he's like a military guy. The only people I remember is there's Topher Grace in it.
Yeah,
and he's a bit of like a disgraced doctor. He was doing questionable.
No, yeah, you don't know why he's there because everybody else is a killer, whereas he's a doctor, and then it turns out that he was a serial killer.
Yeah.
So for Predators.
Yeah, they've taken like but like people with skills that the Predators can test themselves against, and so they then go off. I think it's said in the trailer where it goes, it's a game reserve and essentially where they prey.
But I don't know if it does bring it in the second one, but I know in Predators, that one is when they introduce that there is different kinds of predators.
Yeah.
Like they are different sizes and stuff. So
there's a huge
and stuff like that. Anyway, we're getting off track from the Predator, the original one. But this is obviously in Arnie's heyday. Like he'll have done...
He looks really young as well, isn't it? Don't you think?
He's quite young. Well... But he'll have done Terminator at this point, which we absolutely will get around to doing.
Just T1 or had he done T2? Or T2 1990s?
No, T2. I'll have a look at that too.
Terminator 2. Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Patrick... Oh, plays... I forgot who plays the...
Is that the Mercury guy?
Yeah.
The T-1000.
The T-1000 unit.
Yeah, so this is after Terminator, before Terminator.
So it's before T2. So, yeah, right in the middle of Arnie's best stuff. We say.
Well, this, like I said, this was really Arnie's era, and you get classic Arnie acting in this film.
Yeah, simple lines.
He is
that the best of Get to the Chopper?
That's where Get to the Chopper.
That is the best. I wasn't 100% sure.
Also, this it's been said that when Arnie sticks a guy to a tree and says "stick around," apparently that was improvised by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So is that his better acting?
Yeah.
No, he's not good. I would argue the only films he is good at acting in is the Terminator franchise, because he plays a robot and it lends itself to the fact that he can't act.
I think you're forgetting about a little film called Jingle All the Way.
Sorry. And Kindergarten Cop.
And Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah. No, I I don't feel like I have a lot to say about this movie because it is really kind of what I expected it to be.
It is what it is, and like you say, you've seen some of the Predator films, so you knew what to expect from the Predator when he turns up.
Yeah.
And obviously you just saw the origins of what everything was based off there.
Yeah. Well, you see, he comes into it, like, actually seeing the Predator.
Yeah.
Comes into it way later than I expected. But then thinking back on it, I'm like, I suppose this is the first one they obviously wanted to build to a dramatic reveal, whereas I'm someone who knows what the Predator is, so I'm just waiting for it to happen.
You can totally tell if this film was made now, with the way modern films are done, you would keep the Predator hidden, wouldn't you? And I think I like the bit where the Predator's fixing his leg after he's been shot. I think that's really clever, but I think now when you get that quick glance of him up in the tree, it would be a lot shorter.
Yeah.
The shot where I think it's after the try and mow him down, and he's sort of in the tree and he takes his cloak off real quick and then puts it back on, and not Dutch, Carl Weathers' character.
What?
Al.
No, I can't remember.
I can't remember the name, but he sees him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He doesn't really know. Like, I think that would be a lot again shorter.
Yeah, I think they do a lot less of seeing the camouflage as well. It would probably more like fleeting images.
Yeah,
and then like. But no, I feel like it for the time.
But
I imagine this was more like kind of suspenseful.
One thing I will like to say is
Al Dillon.
One thing,
Dylan. That I was just like,
because he always shoots the same. One thing I will say, and you might have to correct me on this, but whoever did the location scouting, if that is actually all in a jungle, because a lot of it looks like it's in a jungle, then some of it looks like it's set up. Clearly, the bit at the end where he's in the river.
Well, it is on location. I know that.
Just it seems like a lot of the times they must have either like moved the vegetation around as much as they can, but it almost looks a bit set up. But then there's the shots like where they're up in the tree and they're setting all the traps and they're cutting them. It's like, oh no, that's clearly in a jungle up a tree. And I'm like, they do a real good job on location to say it's in the middle of a dense jungle, filming it all.
Yeah, but no, it was on location because apparently at night it got so cold, especially when Arnie's covered in the
mud,
which is actually I think like pottery clay.
Because it all textures.
So he was freezing. They tried warming him up with lamps, and it just made the clay dry. So he tried keeping himself warm by drinking schnapps, which just made him drunk.
Hey, drunk Arnold! That's always fun, I bet.
You'd never get away with that on a film set these days.
No. But yeah, you think back on all the hillsides that they've had to deal with and everything like that. I just credit to the location scout, whoever's found all the bits for them to film on and stuff like that.
I've just got all the actors to carry it all in.
Yeah.
You're big enough.
You would be, if you were like a sound technician or just a runner carrying these massive cables, which they do weigh a lot, and you just watching all of these bodybuilders just probably
with prop guns,
just like
do.
Probably just freaking hell, so much baby oil was used in this film.
It's a warm jungle.
Yeah, I think nearly every character in this movie just finds an excuse. In fact, they don't even have an excuse. It just gets to a point where each of the characters just decides to take their tops off.
Yeah, they're just shirtless. It's wonderful.
Except Jesse Ventura when he's just got his MTV
vest on. Yeah, it's. You can see where, like, again, monster slasher movies, they lend themselves from this film. They base things off it.
See, with it though, because obviously Predator and Alien kind of get put into the same category, and then that's why they ended up having a crossover. But I was kind of expecting this to be a little bit more than just an action flick.
Did you think it was going to be a bit darker like Alien is?
Yeah, like I say, Alien's darker, and especially when it gets to Aliens, the sequel, it does have more to it. It is deeper, like Aliens is essentially about the Vietnam War and everything like that. So I was kind of expecting maybe a bit more depth in this, which I suppose now I'm saying out loud, you could go, this is a bunch of American and Arnie troops going into a jungle and just getting absolutely dominated by guerrilla warfare. But just it happens to be an alien. So maybe that. But no, this was just way more of an action flick than Alien was.
Yeah, but did you feel like the action that you saw in it was not original, but it wouldn't work in any other film?
No.
If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I kind of get it. Like, I can see after this came out, you can guarantee there was so many people within the industry just going, right, how do we do a monster like film like this? And yeah, I'm sure there was 1,000,001 bad knockoffs of Predator.
It's a good film. We enjoyed it. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Again, when you think back on it, you think obviously the Predator, he's got his agility. We saw him punching, but he's also got the two big blades that come off his wrist. He doesn't really you don't really see him use them much. So I don't know if at the point when they made this film they intended to make more to
make more of it,
to make that so that then they could dive more into them using like the blade. But I just kind of like how the Predator's main way of dealing with people was either shoot them with the cannon or all right, I'll just batter them.
Yeah,
you know, the blades were almost a last resort,
or the beginnings of his Shredder cosplay.
Could be. Could be.
Any more thoughts on that one, Sean?
No. Only if you watched Happy Gilmore afterwards. Now you'd probably get the reference why Carl Weathers in that doesn't have an arm. It probably lends to this film.
Yeah.
Just as soon as I saw him, I just think
Happy
Gilmore.
Never even thought about that.
Chubbs Peterson.
Yeah. So now if I watched afterwards, like, oh, there's a reference there to Predator.
Confirmed, Happy Gilmore and Predator set in the same movie universe.
I'm sure
the most ambitious crossover this world has ever.
I'm sure you may have your facts in it, but isn't Predator and like a couple of other like action films supposed to be set in the same world?
I think I haven't got anything up here, but I'm sure it is one of those where people have their theories where it's like these loosely connected.
Yeah. I can't think what they are now at all.
Well, for the longest time before it was confirmed with the films, it was believed that Predator and Alien were set in the same
universe.
And you got away with that because the Alien films are set in the future, so you didn't really have to connect it. Yeah. I think there's something in one of the Alien films or one of the Predator films where you see the skull of the other one on a ship or something. But yeah. No, I enjoyed this. We constantly mention about like the idea of watching these films and seeing if they live up to the hype, and I do think this is one of them. I absolutely get why people would love this film and would have fallen in love with it back then. It has become one of the classics.
Quick search on a popular search engine on my phone says that proof that Predator and Terminator take place in the same movie universe.
Okay, so do they base the T-800 on Dutch?
Yeah, that's exactly it, yeah. But yeah, I know it was something silly like that. Well, not silly, but you know, there was action films and they're all in the same universe. I'm sure it might have been Alien,
people like to think
Predator,
Marvel's
and
all
Terminator.
cool was the first to do it, but no.
But yeah, there you go. Just throw that out there at the end. Nice little tidbit.
Well, so this episode should be going up. Yeah, I don't know.
Sean Connery came out there, didn't he?
This episode should be going up.
Watching Bond.
James Bond. Yeah, this should be going out before the release of The Predator, which is the new Shane Black one, which I'm actually looking forward to seeing. And now I'm all clued up, except for
Predator 2.
Predator 2.
Just do a 5-minute search in that other popular web-based video channel.
No. So I enjoyed it, and if nobody else has got any last thoughts,
great film. Still love it.
Still love it. Yeah.
Still love it. It will be up there as one of my favourite action. We'll just call it an action film.
Definitely, it is an action film.
Yeah.
So is it a 9 out of 10 doorballs, James?
Oh, we're not freaking doing the doorball.
I forgot about the doorball rating.
If you won't let us eat it while we watch it, we're not having it as a rating system.
I did homemade sausage rolls. I won't even touch them.
They're very nice.
It's not about food. It's about films.
Can we do food in films?
Well, it'll have to be a separate podcast.
They didn't eat anything in that film, did they? I assume they ate that ball that he killed.
What's his face?
Jesse Ventura.
No,
Okay.
Does that count?
what's his name? The one who does all the scouting. He cuts open that vine and drinks the
Drink.
like sap out
that
of
was
it.
Billy, wasn't it?
Billy. Yeah.
It was a Paul Randall impression, sorry.
Which there's while we're on the thing of Billy, there was like a joke that seemed like it was going to be
And it was
drawn out throughout the
too.
film. And it was like the guy tells the joke to Billy, and Billy doesn't laugh.
He
So I
doesn't
thought,
react, he just stares at him.
So I thought it was going to be throughout the film. He's going to be telling Billy these jokes, and it won't be until the end Billy will laugh at it. No, the second joke,
Yeah.
Billy laughs.
It's a good joke.
It was an occasion. Speaking of laughing as well, it was weird when the Predator laughs at the end. I get that the whole thing is he can mimic people's voices. Did he happen to spend some time with a supervillain at some point? That he just starts doing this maniacal chuckle before the
Maybe.
explosion?
Maybe, who knows?
It was very odd. I didn't expect that.
Oh, that's a flashback from Predator 2 as well. There's a scene in a graveyard and the Predator's there and a little child can like see the Predator and he's got a bag of candy and goes, want some candy? And then I'm sure the Predator uses it later on in the film, like, want some candy? It's real weird.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure he uses it as he's like killing someone or to like get people's attention. He uses it like a kind of want some candy. But in that weird deep Predator way. There you go. Predator 2 flashbacks.
I mean, it'd bring a whole new, like, level to the whole To Catch a Predator.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
paedophile, sure. Reference for you there.
You can cut it off there.
Anywho, we will actually
How did
be...
we get there from doorbells?
Stop going on about doorbells. Our next episode will actually not be the monthly one. We're going to be doing a Halloween special and watching the film Halloween. You know, no, shocking, right?
How original of us.
And then after that will be our December episode. Nope.
No.
November episode. We record these so far in advance that I can't remember the stuff. I think so.
Okay.
Anyway. No.
Are we signing off?
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Oh, wow.
Speak to you later.